Happy Monday. Whoa. I am outside today. My babies are napping right now. And I just finished getting super pumped up by, have you guys ever gone on YouTube and just searched motivational speeches or pump up speeches? I was listening to the first one that came up as I was working out today, and it was like, so good. And it was really what I needed, because this week is kind of a heavier week for me, but it's also so exciting and such an honor to be a part of the different events and activities that I get to be a part of this week to speak out against drinking and driving and kind of share my story with that. And so the theme of my life right now and what I've been reflecting on has been the most painful moment of my life. And this motivational message that I was listening to today was so powerful in alignment with that. And he had said some things that really resonated with me. And he had said, I wrote, I'm writing down things as I'm working out. Some really powerful things, because I also know that a lot of you, a lot of us, a lot of people in the world are hurting and currently going through something that's harder than they've ever imagined going through. Or they have been abused or hurt so badly in their past that they're still holding on to that, and that's still kind of dictating their relationships. It's still dictating their self-worth and their value. It's still dictating the decisions they make, whether they believe in themselves or whether they chronically quit on themselves because they don't see their own potential to be great. And no matter where you are at or the people around you are at, something that I feel like is so powerful is recognizing that our greatest pain can also be our greatest achievement. And when you start to hear people say these things who have exemplified it, it starts to become more tangible. And you start to see that, well, if they can do it, I could do it. And you start to recognize that life isn't necessarily what happens to you. There's a quote flying around in the Pinterest world that life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. And it's so true. I have watched people go through similar things that I went through as a kid, and they chose to go down a different path because they chose to take that victim role of, this happened to me, so I get to basically throw my life away. Or I chose to become an alcoholic. I chose to continue the pattern because my dad was an alcoholic. You know, whatever that truth is for them. Yesterday when I spoke in church and I shared a big difference I saw between myself and the drunk driver who hit me and my dad on my 11th birthday and ended up killing my dad and putting me in a coma. The big difference I saw when I met him and went to his parole board hearing and listened to him explain what had happened that night when he went to the bar and his whole life and his past of domestic violence issues that he had and his 10 other DUIs, was that he chose to be a victim of his circumstances. He chose to take that role of my circumstances define me, nobody loves me, whatever his mindset was, and that's how he chose to react. And until we can understand and accept full responsibility that it's our choice what we do with our life, it is our choice how we perceive our situation, it is our choice how we react to it, you're gonna struggle. And it's so liberating to get to that place where you're like, yes, X, Y, and Z happened to me. We all have pain in our lives. In some aspect, I know you've gone through something that really broke you, or you're going through something that really broke you, and maybe you feel stuck right now, and you don't get it, and you're like, why does life have to suck so bad sometimes? I've been there. Why? Didn't see this curveball coming, totally got blindsided. And that pain that you feel is real, and I get it, but there's another side of it. And I'm in this place in my life right now where I was sharing this with my mom the other day, the hell that I've walked through as a little girl, and then again when I was blindsided with a divorce at 26, and these little things is such a gift to me now because I've survived and I can relate to so many more people. And instead of being my excuse as to why I chose to believe that I was less than, mediocre and make all these poor decisions that led to whatever, a different way of life, I saw that as fuel to overcome them. And when I was listening to this message today, he said the same thing. There's two sides to pain. There's the burn, there's the struggle, there's the hardship, there's the aching. And most people quit there because psychologically, I feel like, especially in our society nowadays, whenever things get hard, we pull away. This is why people usually aren't successful in their own health journey, because it's hard. This is why people don't work through forgiveness, because it's hard. And we think that life's supposed to be easy and that we're supposed to avoid any kind of challenging thing. And the opposite is true. Anyone who is truly great and inspirational and motivational went through hell at some point in their life, and they learned the same exact thing that I'm sharing with you. That it's our perspective, it's our choice to step up and say, yes, this sucks. And you take your time to process, and you take your time to grieve. But then you push past that first phase of pain, and you start recognizing that this could have a purpose. This isn't about me. This pain I'm experiencing, maybe I have been allowed to go through this for a greater purpose that I don't even see yet. And that's been so true for my own life in, the past 20 years since I've started kind of sharing my story and understanding what that even meant and how it could help other people be encouraged. And I could never have reached the people that I've been able to make relationships with and encourage and be there in their darkest moments if I hadn't walked through it myself. I would be no one to understand what it's like to get blindsided when your husband comes home and says, I don't love you anymore, I'm not attracted to you, I want to divorce you, I found someone else. If I didn't go through that, there's no way that I could be there for someone and say, I'm so sorry, I get it, this is so shitty, there's no way around it, but I promise you, you're going to get through this. One day at a time, sometimes one breath at a time, you're going to get through this. And the same thing when you're blindsided by a death of someone you love. There's such a different perspective when we can see our seemingly negative, painful circumstances as fuel. I'm going to show other people that this is possible to survive. I'm going to show other people that you can take something horrible and you can use it for so much good. I love when I see people up on stage sharing their story and they get to the meat of what caused them to go from, just living life by default to this wrecked me, I overcame it, and now I have to go show people that this is possible to overcome. And we see it all the time with people from different circumstances who've overcome, sexual assault or an abusive relationship, an abusive childhood, being tossed around the foster care system. So many painful, horrible, gut-wrenching experiences that people have been through that they're now using to change the world. There are two sides of pain, and unfortunately not a lot of people get to the other side because they pull back. You, my friend, have so much greatness inside of you. One of my favorite scriptures from the Bible is, what the enemy intended for destruction, the Lord uses for good. And I've seen that happen so many times when we can lean in and be like, God, you promised me you wouldn't give me anything that I couldn't handle. And so you got to carry me through this because I have no idea how I'm going to get through. And sometimes it is that daily trust, every single second, 1 minute at a time to get through. So if you're going through something challenging today, I want to encourage you. Feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to pray for you. I'd be happy to encourage you in any way that I can, to give you any kind of tips that have helped me. But honestly, it's what I've shared with you. Just recognizing the power's in our hands, and it's no one else's responsibility but mine how my life turns out. It's no one else's responsibility but yours how your life turns out. In the end, you're still living and breathing. You have tomorrow. You have today. The end of your story is not written yet. You get to decide how it ends. Yes, there's all this drama and like things that come into life that you never intend on. Life is hard, and we shouldn't expect it to be easy. But just know, like now, if you start choosing how you're going to decide when hardships come, you're going to be so much better off. And you're going to bring people along the way, and you're going to encourage them. We have so much darkness here in social media. We have so much darkness in the world. I get messages all the time from these haters telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about, blah, blah, blah. I don't care, because so many of you are encouraged by this kind of dialogue and conversation because it's not common. So you have to be that to your circle and your group. And we have to continue this ripple effect together. And maybe one person at a time, we can really start to change people's mindsets, help people start believing in themselves, believing in their potential, believing in what they can do, start infusing that into their kids and impacting the next generation. Instead of being a bunch of entitled, spoiled brats, we can start raising and cultivating people who are not afraid of hard work, who see purpose through pain, and who lean into it, who don't avoid struggle, but try to reap the benefits of it and become higher quality people instead of these surfacey, like, drama-y. Nobody got time for that, right? Okay, happy Monday. If this spoke to you, awesome. Leave me a comment below. If you think that it could be encouraging to people around you, please share it, because we got to get this message around the world. Bye, you guys.